You had mentioned earlier, like you said, you had tracks with KRS-One and Nas and Mac, and just a lot of real lyrical cats. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to salute you for that, man. I know them studio sessions is crazy.
Yeah, man, I mean, a lot of that. I mean, that I was part of the generation where people started mailing it in. You know what I'm saying? Like the Nas. It's funny how it changes over time. The Nas was the first feature, major feature of a song that I played on, and that he mailed the 2-inch reel, to LA. He was in New York. He mailed back a 2-inch reel of his verse, right? But then when you get to, by the time we get to the KRS thing with Mia, we're in Pro Tools now. But still, he FedExed a DVD of the Pro Tools session, and I flew the lyrics in, right? And you get to now, Cass is emailing verses, you know what I'm saying? So it's the whole full circle moment, you know what I'm saying? All of the different technological advances through the game. But I mean, past that, once you get past the New Orleans days, I also work with Manny Fresh, post Cash Money. And with him, man, I worked with everybody. I mean, fresh touch everybody, man. And, I work with him is as a musician and as an engineer. So, I mean, we worked with T.I., Rick Ross. We worked with Good Music. So we worked with Kanye, Big Sean, Pusha T, Mos Def, Jay Electronica, everybody, man. Then I did a little stint with Mystical when he got out of jail the first time. I put together a band for him for a House of Blues tour, and we was doing a lot of music at that point. Did some music with him. We worked with Marsha Ambrosius, a lot of people, man. I mean, at a certain point when I got with Fresh, he had a 50-song writers deal with Atlantic. And so we just was either here in Houston at the studio all the time, or we were out in Atlanta at Patchworks just posted up. And whoever fell in the studio, we worked with them, It was a round the clock thing. So who's who of people, felt 2 Chainz, whoever was around, And then somebody might just be coming in the hook, help write a verse. So we had a little writers camp here and there. So I mean, it's been a bunch of that over the years,
Okay. Now I want to kind of talk a little bit about H-Town, because you said you went after Katrina, so that was like was that around like the time the screw music started blowing up with Slim Thug and Chameleon and Paul Wall? Did you get to work with any of them artists from that wave?
I've worked with a lot of them, man. At that time, I think that whole movement had just started to die down on a national level, but it ain't never gonna die in Houston, I think from the moment I touched down, literally, not around the time, not about the time, literally at the time I touched down was when Pimp C was getting out of jail. And so I was working with another good friend of mine that I work with is KLC, the drum major. And right before Katrina, KL was working on Bun B's album, that Trill record. And the last thing I did in Louisiana before Katrina was play a bass line for KL's song with Bun. And right when I got settled out here in Houston, let's see, the storm was August 29th. It was Bayou Classic time around Thanksgiving. Bayou Classic couldn't happen in New Orleans where it normally happens because the city was still in shambles. So the Bayou Classic was out here in Houston. And at the same time, Pimp C had got out of jail. And they had a studio session to start working on the UGK for Life album. And I got called in on that session. And it was crazy because, like I said, it felt like the entire universe was in Houston at that time because it's Bayou Classic, you know what I'm saying? It's in Houston. It's for the first time ever. So, you got Grambling, Southern, everybody coming down here to see the game and everybody coming down here to see Pimp. So yeah, I went to the studio, man. It looked like looked like Lennox Ball, man. It was crazy. And that day, that night, that's 2005. That night was when I hooked back up with Fresh. He was the first person I saw in the parking lot when I got ready to go in the studio, and we linked up then, and yeah, the rest is history.
Oh wow, man! R.I.P. to Pimp C. Man, now let me see. I just wanted to ask you because you worked with so many artists at this point in the game. You know what I'm saying? Are you still making music? You got any new projects coming out? You know what's going on with you nowadays?
I'd have planted my flag out here in Houston. Since I worked with rap a lot here, worked with Zero. I've done some things with Paul Wall, Young Star, and the Screwed Up Click. I did some stuff with Flip. The most recent project that's out there now that I got production on is Zero. Zero just released that album at the end of last month called Pressure. I have two productions on there, Never Fold and Live It Up. Two songs on there. Still working with Manny on some things. We've been working with this cat out of New Orleans named Nino Calvin. He signed with Cash Money. He's part of Rich Gang. Did some things with Scarface not too long ago. Still sprinkling things here and there, but other than that, a lot of independent artists, whoever comes in and want to try to get that thing on, I own a studio out here in Katy, and the website is missioncontrolstudio.com, so it's bookable to the public. So a lot of people, go on there and either book me for production or just book me for some studio time. And so whoever, hits me up to want to get some work in, that's fully accessible to the whole world. Anybody wants to come and get some more music, it's there. Just hit the link.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I was on one of the websites, man. You got a phenomenal catalog. I mean, I only seen about maybe 10% of the people you named. And you named people from the East, from the West, from the South. You know what I'm saying? That's dope. So I want to thank you again for coming on the show, man. It's really an honor because, it means a lot more to me when I get to listen to the music and you get to hear the people behind the sounds, because the beats is, if not more important, they just as important as the artist. But a lot of time the producers, if they're not a household name, they get overshadowed. Not saying, you need that, but, for me as just a fan, I want to know, you know what I'm saying?
No, that's all good. I appreciate that.
Okay, yeah. So I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. It's been another episode of Taye Speaks, you know what I'm saying? So until next time, King, we out. Peace.
All right, peace, brother.
Yeah.